Her words cut through the silence like a blade. "Intimacy only when I want it," she said coldly. Her eyes locked on her phone instead of me. "There's no point in being nice otherwise." For a moment, I thought I'd misheard her. We were sitting at the kitchen table, steam rising from untouched coffee mugs, the morning light spilling across her face. But her expression didn't waver. There was no trace of teasing, no warmth, just that flat, unbothered tone that had become her default lately. I stared at her, searching for the woman I'd married 8 years ago. "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked quietly. She shrugged. "It means I don't owe you affection just because we're married. I'll give it when I feel like it. That's all." Her words sank in slow, like poison spreading through my veins. I wanted to argue to defend the bond we'd built, but something in her eyes stopped me. They weren't angry, they were indifferent. And indifference is worse than hate. I forced a laugh that didn't sound like me. "So what? I'm just supposed to wait around until you're in the mood to care about me." She finally looked up from her phone, her lips curling into a faint smirk. "You make it sound pathetic when you say it like that." Pathetic. That word echoed in my head long after she stood up and left the table. I sat there, staring at the ring on my finger, wondering when our marriage had turned into a transaction measured in scraps of attention. First, I blamed myself. Maybe I'd been too busy with work. Maybe she needed more from me emotionally. Maybe, God help me, she was right. But even as I tried to rationalize, small things began to pile up, each one more unsettling than the last. She started working late, something she'd never done before. Her phone was always face down, her notifications silenced. The scent of new perfume clung to her skin, one I hadn't bought. And every time I reached for her, she pulled away, claiming exhaustion, stress, headaches, anything to keep distance between us. Still, I didn't want to believe it. Love, when it's real, makes you blind in ways that logic can't fix. Then came the night that changed everything. I got home earlier than usual, rain dripping from my jacket. Her car wasn't in the driveway, but her purse was on the counter. I called her name, expecting to hear her voice upstairs. Nothing. The house was too quiet. Then I noticed her phone charging on the table, the screen lighting up every few seconds with messages. The first one flashed before it locked again. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." My chest tightened. I knew I shouldn't, but my hand moved on its own. I unlocked the screen. Her password hadn't changed. The messages opened to a thread labeled simply A. The conversation was long, months deep. Flirty. Intimate. Full of the kind of affection I hadn't seen from her in years. "You're the only one who understands me. He's so boring lately. I wish you were here instead of him." My fingers went numb. The air felt thick, unbreathable. I scrolled further until I found a photo, a mirror selfie. She was wearing the dress I'd bought her for our anniversary last year, the one she'd refused to wear that night. That's when I heard the door unlock. Panic jolted through me. I dropped her phone onto the table and took a step back just as she walked in. Hair damp from the rain, a small smile on her face that vanished the instant she saw me. "You're home early," she said cautiously. "Yeah," I said. My voice sounded foreign. "Forgot my umbrella." Her eyes flicked to the table, her phone still glowing faintly. The color drained from her face. "Mark," she said slowly. "Did you?" I did. The silence stretched, long and suffocating. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, as if searching for the right version of the truth to feed me. "Who is he?" asked. She swallowed hard. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." She looked away, her voice barely above a whisper. "Someone I met through work. We just talk." Just talk. I stepped closer, anger starting to replace the shock. "You just talk about how boring I am. You just talk about how you wish he was here instead of me." Her chin trembled. "You were never home, Mark. I tried to tell you I was lonely. You didn't listen." I wanted to scream, to ask her how she could turn loneliness into betrayal, but instead I just said, "So this is my fault?" "No," she said quickly. "But I don't. I interrupted. Don't try to make this sound noble. She backed away slightly, her arms crossed over her chest. You think this is easy for me? I didn't mean for it to go that far. So it did go that far. Her silence was all the answer I needed. I walked past her to the window, staring out into the rain. The reflection of my own face looked like that of a stranger, someone broken, humiliated, used. When I turned back, she was crying. But I couldn't tell if it was guilt or fear. Do you love him? Yes. Her voice cracked. I don't know. That was worse than yes. Something in me went cold. I went to our bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and began packing. She followed me, pleading now, her voice shaking. Mark, please don't do this. We can fix it. Fix it, I said, throwing clothes into the bag. You don't fix something you set on fire. She grabbed my arm. I made a mistake. Please. I looked at her then, the woman I'd once believed was my forever, and I realized something painful. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done. She was sorry she'd been caught. I pulled free from her grip. You told me there's no point in being nice unless you want to be, I said quietly. Well, now I don't want to be. I left that night. For days she called nonstop. Texts, voicemails, messages from mutual friends. Each one more desperate than the last. I ignored them all. Until one afternoon she showed up at my apartment. Her makeup was smudged, her hair unkempt. Mark, please, I ended it. I told him it was over. I just want you back. I studied her face, looking for any trace of truth. Why now? Because I love you, she said. I realized too late what I was throwing away. I wanted to believe her. God, I really did. But the trust was gone, and love without trust is just habit. I made my decision, I said. You made yours first. She broke down then, sobbing into her hands as I closed the door. That night I sat in the dark, the city lights flickering outside the window. My heart felt heavy but strangely free. I picked up my phone and finally listened to her last voicemail. Her voice was small, trembling. I know you'll never forgive me. But you were right. I only wanted intimacy when it served me. You gave me love I didn't deserve. I'm sorry, Mark. Truly. For a long time I sat there, the message looping in my head. Then I deleted it and put my phone away. Sometimes betrayal doesn't end with rage. Sometimes it ends with silence, the kind that finally feels like peace.